Welcome to Revell Scale Modelling. This is part 3 of Revell Star Trek USS Voyager Intrepid class. Scale is 1 to 677. In this part I'm going to be starting doing a little bit of the detailing work and then carrying on with some of the light installations. So let's jump into this and see how well I get on. To begin with, I'm going to be painting the phaser banks here. As you can see, I've already started. I'm doing this freehand initially, but I will probably mask it off as well as I get nearer to the hull of the saucer section. But I'm using Revell Aquacolor 83 Rust for this. Now, that's not the colour the kit's calling for. It's a sort of beige colour the kit's calling for, but I prefer the darker reddish colour. So jumping later on in the build, I decided then to mask it, as you can see here. And I'm using for this Tamiya's 5mm masking tape for curves. Now this is designed to go around bends and so on. The tape is okay. It does what it's designed to do, but you can get quite a lot of paint bleeds. So you have to be careful when you put it on and make sure it's firmly down. But I decided to mask it off because basically I had a lot of coffee and my hands were shaking too much for freehand painting. So once it was masked, I'm putting on some varnish, which is Pledge Clear Polish. Now this is the acrylic polish and floor varnish that you can use on models, and just putting a thin coat over it, and this will just stop any paint bleeds. Of course, you can also paint the bottom colour onto the tape as well for the same effect. And once the varnish was dry, it was just a simple case of repainting the part. And now it's back to the nacelle, and it's time to put on the bottom half of the nacelle. Now I left these drying overnight, the clear part, the blue part, so it's a firm bit. Still a bit of wobble in there, and this is what I was on about on the previous video. The contact points are not brilliant on it, so you do have to be quite careful. The actual fitting onto the strut itself was really good. It didn't cause any problems whatsoever. And it's the same with the other one. I've just turned it upside down so you can see it going on. That big bar there acts as a very good contact point for the nacelle. After some drying time, the next job was then to secure the LED strip. This is quite important. You want to, one, put it in a position where it's not going to interfere with your lights. Don't have it right up against the plastic part, or you will get a lot of bright spots. So put it close to the strut as possible, but without interfering with the wire, of course. And I'm just holding it down with a little bit of super glue. You can use hot glue and other glues as well for this as well. It's just a matter of preference. Now the next job is to prep the wire to receive the next diode. I've done that by stripping back the sheath. You have to do this very carefully because you could easily pull out the connection point from the LED strip. What I do is I just measure up what I'm going to be using and then just cut accordingly. So it's a lot of dry fitting, just to know that you've got your measurements right and you're not having an excess amount of wire actually inside. But as you can see, I'm using my same method. I'm gently drawing the knife over the plastic sheath, just a little bit. You tend, if you do this a lot, you tend to feel when the wire's there and you start cutting. If you're going to do it this way, though, be very, very careful because you can easily cut yourself. And once I've exposed enough wire, it's time to attach the diode. This is a 3mm red diode I'm using. And like with everyone else, it's just a simple case of twisting the wire onto the metal prong from the diode, also connecting positive to positive, neutral to neutral. I keep on saying that, but it's so easy to get it wrong when you're in the zone and you're just working away. Once I was happy with the connection and the length, it was time to solder everything on. Now, as you can see, a bit of kitchen towel again, just to protect the underneath. You can use a solder mat, of course, or something like that. It's anything just to catch any hot bits of solder that may pop off your iron, and you don't want it to land on your plastic because it can easily burn through. It doesn't take a lot of soldering. There's just a little bit. And if you haven't got any skill with soldering, this is a very, very simple process. When I started, I had no skill whatsoever on soldering. I'd never picked up a soldering iron, and just have a go and practice with it. as long as you follow some basic rules, you'll be okay. And when I say basic rules, I mean really basic rules. Don't touch the hot part, for instance. If you're holding the wire, make sure you're far enough back so the heat's not travelling up to your hand, or wear a glove. And when you're soldering wire, tin it, so that's putting a little bit of solder on the wire before you make the join, and it just makes everything easier. So once it was soldered, I'm just cutting off the excess so there's no any sticky out bits that's going to interfere with the sheath when I draw it up to the LED, well, the diode. So I'll put both of them in it, and I've noticed I haven't put a sheath on. That was my mistake. It's easy enough solder, I'll just put a bit of electrical tape on it, but I thought I'd put the sheath on. As you can see, everything is lit up, the LED strips lit up, the diodes lit up. So the electrical tape or insulating tape is going on around the bare metal parts, and I'm putting this right up to the diode itself. And then, as before, a strip of black insulating tape is on the bottom to prevent any heat spots or light bleeds. And this also gives me a good little base to secure the diode as well. When you're looking at your placements, bear in mind your wire as well. You may have seen me there with my thumb just pressing down on the wire. This is just to show, to make sure that I've got enough room for the connection points when I put the top half of the nacelle on. A lot of times people tend to forget that, and you end up with a wire sticking out, and you can run into problems with the part not closing properly. It sounds basic, but again, it's always the basic things that catch us out when we're building. And then another light test to make sure everything's working, because I done something different. I secured them with super glue, so it's because I move things around, it's time to do the light test as always. So all the lights are in for this particular part, so it's time to put on the top half of the nacelle. This will need a couple of clamps, nothing major, just there to hold it in place. But again, be mindful of the blue plastic clear part, because the fitting can be a little bit tricky when you're putting on the top half. And then it's time for the second one, so that went on exactly the same way. And then once more a light test to make sure everything is lit up, so you can see the glow, the red glow from the buzzard collectors, and the location lights are coming through as well. So it's back to the saucer section, and it's time to do a little bit more detailing paperwork, and I'm using Revell Aquacolor 314 beige for this. Now I've already masked off certain areas, but that'll be for a different colour. I'm just painting the raised parts on the bridge area with the beige. You can mask these areas off as well, of course, if you wish, but they're quite raised up, so that's not really necessary. Here I'm using Revell Aquacolor 371 light grey. I think these are escape pods, I'm not 100% sure, but after painting them, I think the colour's too light. It doesn't really stand up too well with the main colour, so I may go back and change it. You can see it from this angle, they're barely standing out with the different colour. For this mask off section, I'm using Revell Aquacolor 57 grey. And the 57 grey is going to be the main contrast colour. And that's the colour I'm thinking about changing these little areas on the bridge to, so they can stand out a bit more. I'm not necessarily sure whether that's correct or not, but they really don't stand out, so I just may well change them. So carrying on with the 57 grey, I'm just painting the various panels throughout the hull with that colour. So the bottom section here is the same colour. I do apologise about the lighting. I done this early in the morning, so the light was just coming from my overhead light, so it's not great. Then I'm using Revell Aquacolor 93 copper for the side grills on the buzzard collector and the nacelles. I'm not sure whether this is the right colour, but I think it stands out better than the darker colour that the kit's calling for. For the detail work, I'm using Revell Aquacolor 38 dark grey and 99 aluminium, then 93 copper, and lastly 330 fiery red or Revell Aquacolor. And these are just little dots in those panels. Inside this part here is a contrast colour. and I wasn't sure what colour they were calling for, so I done it in Revell colour 89 beige. The instructions called for a slightly darker colour, but again, like with the nacelles, I decided to do a different contrast colour. So I'll carry on with all this detailing work. It's very similar all the way, all the way through the ship. So I'll be painting in the remaining feather banks and so on, but it's all basically the same. So there's really no point of showing that as such. Also, as well, because the light is not particularly good on this video here, so I'm reluctant to show it. But as you can see, it's going along okay. This bit just takes a little bit of time, all of the detail and painting, but it's all the panels, feather banks and so on. So this is where I'll end part 11. If you haven't done so already, why don't you go and jump over to the channel and have a look at my other videos. If you subscribe to the channel, and please do so, make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to date, not only with this build, but all my future builds as well, of course. Hit the like button, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course, you can share the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.